CJ Gardner-Johnson, love you, but you've been running your mouth in the locker room, building that chip on Baker's shoulder, and I'm like, hey, can it? This is not smart football, and I'm a fan of smart football. But then, if this is going to be your MO, and you're going to be this crazy guy that does things like this, then do it when it matters. Don't wimp out.
Welcome to Ford Field, everybody. As you've just heard, this day has been long awaited for Lions fans. Yeah!
I'm a Sheila apologist. I openly admit it. But Sheila, I'm giving at least 2 more years. I'm going to give Dan Campbell 2 more years. I'm going to give Sheila 2 more years. I kind of ate that up.
Welcome back. What a great job by Ben on that intro.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, normally I try to see it beforehand to make sure, there's nothing wild in there. But Kennedy, that was pretty impressive, I got to say.
Oh, my gosh. I feel like I've grown so much since I was on the show last. It's kind of crazy to think about.
That's not a good thing for me because the last time you were in here, it was the biggest L I've ever taken, which he, of course, had to include the Sheila Ford handtake. Thanks. Like, whose side are you on, Ben? And of course, he had to put that in there. I thought I really had made my penance there with my self-made dunking video singing your praises at my expense, but apparently I'm going to pay for the Sheila Ford take forever. By the way, I think that's a good place to start. Sheila Ford, I look, I'm a guy who has named myself Darko State News on Twitter because it's a self-imposed scarlet letter. The Darko Milicic take that he's going to be good, that I would not let go of, is the worst take of all time. We might have to revisit this, especially if the Lions get something done. Your Sheila Ford ham take is the biggest L I've ever taken in the history of the show. Like seriously.
Yeah, early I kind of knew just watching what she was doing and being the first of her family to admit that she wasn't completely sure what she was doing. That's the smartest we've seen a Ford be by far. Just bringing in Chris Spielman, bringing in all the right pieces to lead her in the decision making and not be my way or the highway, or I'm going to hire my dad's friends, or I'm just going to listen to Matt Patricia and bring in his friends. You know what I mean? So, I kind of knew she was doing it the right way from the get-go, because I think the best thing about being human is that you can admit that you don't know everything and that you can learn and that you can grow. And Sheila's got that on lock.
Well, we made that praise video for you, showing off how great your take was, and it's Twitter, it's social media, so of course there's always at least 1 or 2 assholes in the group. Oh, so I mean, I'm totally paraphrasing the guy, but someone in the replies was like, "Oh, of course she defended the woman owner. Like, that's not even like, why even give her credit?" And I said, "Hey, asshole, not only was she right, but you were right for the right reason." And that's what I clarified to the person. It's like, it wasn't just like girl power. You laid out the reason then, and you just repeated it then. It was her specific humility to say openly, I have these weaknesses. I know where I'm not strong. I'm going to lean on people and find people who are strong. I'm going to ask around. That open-mindedness and humility that she approached it with. So that guy can fuck off. You were right for the right reason, I would argue, because she benefited directly from that humility, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we hadn't seen prior from her family members. So we love her.
Big win for you, Natalie Kerwin. It was the girl power hour, though. I mean, you, Natalie Kerwin, and Natalie Sparback were like the 3 Sheila people for like 2 years in that entire span. Every time she came up with a guy, I can't think of any exceptions. It was like 12-3, 12 guys against 3 girls for. You guys win, even if it doesn't go well for the next 10 years. She's already so much better than I thought she could ever be, and they've already done more than I thought they could ever do. But I'm still optimistic, but there's a part of me that's terrified that they'll never get back there like Dan Campbell warned his own team right after. Like, where are you at with that in terms of the 49ers recovery now that we're, about a month past it now?
Yeah, I feel like I'm fully recovered. I've had a lot of conversations kind of with myself in the car when I'm driving, like thinking things through like a psychopath, because like I can't really let it go. But the things... I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. The things that have happened postseason, like the Brad Holmes victory lap, the blog post from Alex Anzalone, those have all just like not really sat completely awesome with me. And I'm trying to kind of figure out why. And I was thinking about it on the way here because I was like, I feel like I'm going to have a point to make and I'm going to need to be able to spit it out. And I think it's in this digital age, with following all of their girlfriends on Twitter, following them all on Instagram, seeing everything the players posting and chirping at each other and things like that. Like, I have a very parasocial relationship with this team that I don't have with any other team, to the point where I feel like I know them. And I have to remind myself that I don't. I think it's especially important when we've been talking recently about, this is Brad Holmes, MO, this is his personality. We don't know him. Stop. We don't know him. We're not in his head. And like, oh, when he said this in the press conference, he meant this. We do not know him. Like, even the people that are at those press conferences, they don't know him. And at the end of the day, he's a GM, and he's not going to show his cards and what he's thinking when it comes to the draft or free agency. And I just keep reminding myself of that, because now I'm like, okay, I'm freaking out. Next year is basically like NFC Championship or bust. So for some people, Super Bowl or bust. If we don't get back to at least where we were this year, like, what even is this? What are we doing? So when everyone's releasing mock drafts and things, and I think he's going to do this, I think he's going to do that, I was so far off last year when it came to what I wanted in the draft versus what we got in the draft. Some things I still didn't really like, but some things that I didn't like and I didn't have faith in, I mean, I was wrong. So I'm just trying to pull back right now. And I think a lot of fans are having a hard time with that as well. Does this make any sense, what I'm saying?
Well, it does, but my natural question, and we'll get back to the draft thing in a second, because I might disagree with you on that a little bit. But what is it specifically? You said two things, the Anzalone letter and the Holmes thing.
Oh, yeah,
we're on Holmes. We'll start with Holmes.
Okay.
What specifically about it did you not like? Because is it the bravado? Because what is the correlation with him hiding his cards or not? I'm just missing.
No, I don't care about. No, I think that's smart. I think he should do that. As a GM, please don't tell other teams who you're interested in.
But you didn't like the bravado.
I didn't like the victory lap on the media members. No, I'm a media member, so. But yeah, I didn't like the. I remember when you said this. Look at me, I was right. I don't know, something about that rubbed me the wrong way. And like I was saying before with the parasocial relationship thing, I think I have my mind built up so much of these people and have put them on this crazy pedestal that when I see them dog somebody in the media that I like or that I follow, I'm like, wait, I don't really mess with that. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I have to take a step back and remember I don't actually know these people. As a fan and as a media member, they don't owe me anything. So I just have to, I'm trying to be chill about everything.
I mean, but the key thing, he didn't even get the dunk right.
That's the thing. It was the wrong person too.
He said, he pointed to Dave Burkett. You wanted us to draft a quarterback, which, okay, there was a record of him saying hey, this is an angle they should consider or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the immediate aftermath, everything that guy said about the draft, he gave him an A or an A+. I think it was an A+. He said it was a no-brainer pick. I think that was the Sewell draft. He said Sewell was the no-brainer pick.
Facts.
Brad Holmes hit a home run. It was this effusive and praise article right after. And he's calling Burkett out like Burkett tried to sleep with his mom. It was a bizarre.
It was weird. That's why it didn't sit right with me, but I'm trying to shake it. That's one thing I'm trying to shake that has already just rubbed me the wrong way. It's really hard too, because for so long I talked to you about this the other day, the whiplash that I feel as a fan. So long it was all you did was dog the Lions. All you heard on the radio was people dogging the Lions. All people seeing you wearing Lions gear would be like, oh, well, Lions fan, that sucks. And now it's just you have to sing their praises for everything they do, or I'm going to mug you on the street. That's how it feels right now. And I'm I don't want to get jumped, okay?
It was like that before. What are you talking about?
It was all Negative Nelly.
I've been getting... this is all documented, Kennedy. Look at my mentions. People
right now.
No, before too.
I don't know. This hype train is crazy.
That's been my big thing with Adam Baydoun, our mutual friend. Before the flip, we were constantly getting yelled at for being negative. Yeah. And we would say, what do you want me to be positive about in the last 60 years?
Where my brain isn't connecting things, because I was obviously a co-host with Adam. Before that, I was an intern under Sean Belizean. All these people in my whole life, it was Mike Valeni on the radio that I was hearing. All the kind of that run the same, not the same. Scratch that. I did not mean to say they're the same, but kind of more erring on the side of caution when it came to the Lions.
More cynical.
Yes. Okay, that's a way better word.
Yeah.
This is why you have good degrees.
Yeah, well, we're at the same desk on the same mic. And the last time you were here, I got knocked out in the third round. So, yeah, apparently not working out too well. I mean, so you have no, it's more of just the optics. Because there's no like football reason you're bothered. Because I didn't like the optics of the phone call to Sewell when they drafted him. It had nothing to do with drafting Sewell. But, he's pounding the table and woo! And it's just like, it's embarrassing. But it doesn't hurt the win-loss record. It was just like more of like
I didn't mind that. Wait, so, okay, if that bothered you, how did you feel?
I would say it bothered me. It's just I thought he looked like a jackass. Like I wasn't like up tossing and turning like, oh my God, he pounded. I wasn't like offended.
Did you feel any type of way about the race helmet? People.
I made fun of it at the time.
Okay, people had an issue with that.
Nick Baumgartner. Well, it depends. Like if the people that were calling radio stations, ranting and raving and like going off about the helmet are unhinged, and I do not want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
But the people that are like, this is stupid, like this is clown behavior, and it's not that it's damaging in any way. It's just ridiculous, and it's not a great look. But I don't think it was problematic.
Yeah.
But it depends. It all the context matters based on the wins and losses.
And at that point, we had nothing to show.
Well, Marty Morningweg stormed off on a motorcycle from practice, and at the time, it was his first year. He hadn't coached a game yet. Everybody loved it. It was like this cool. There were a couple exceptions. People thought Billy badass. He called practice early. He made this big thing about it, and then they went 2-14, and then 3-13, and he got fired. And now it died off since, but for 10 years, that was like the meme. Like storm off on the motorcycle was the meme before memes. So we'd be making fun of the helmet now if they kept losing. So it all comes back to that. But no, I wasn't offended by it. But so it's no football reason.
No.
What is the Anzalone letter that you didn't? What about it didn't you like? Because the Holmes thing was polarizing. Yeah. I thought I was the only one that was rolling my eyes at the Anzalone thing. What was your issue?
You were too? Okay, that makes me feel so much better because everyone on Twitter was tweeting portions of it and being like, hell yeah, brother, like blah, 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 LFG, go Lions. And I was just like, no. What happened in that NFC championship game was bullshit. They did not play their best. There were multiple things they could have cleaned up. Let us not lie to ourselves here. And you're sitting there doubling down saying we would do it all again? You just lost a chance to go to the fucking Super Bowl. And you're doubling down, looking me dead in the eyes as a fan of this team for years saying you would do it all again? Fuck you. I wanted to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. People are going to be mad when they hear that.
I don't care.
I got yelled at for saying the same thing.
We literally could have been. Oh my God. I'll start crying. I can't.
I wasn't mad at him. I just didn't want to hear it. Somebody
also too soon. Shut up.
Well, that's partly why. And it's the same thing. Valenti was lecturing people on his show, and I shared an excerpt from it. 2 days after, it was like 2 or 3 days after.
The wound was so
Get over it, guys. Like, he let him have it on Monday. He let everybody rant on Tuesday. He gave us like 48 hours, and then he's lecturing people on how it's too soon. I'm still trying to get over the Butler loss from 2010. Thanks a lot. I'm sorry. Get over it? I'm not going to get over that in 30 years, especially if they never win it. But even if they do, I still am mad about 2009 with the Red Wings losing Game 7 to the Penguins. And they've won 4 cups in my life, and they were the reigning champs at the time. So, no, I'm not getting over that. I didn't like it. And you said it. People are acting like we all know it was a 17-point lead.
Yep.
People are acting like they blew like a 9-point lead. I don't think people understand 17-point lead at that point in the game. And even I actually think you're better off with the 14-point lead driving in their territory than the 17-point lead their ball driving. Mm-hmm. So, really, I go back more to that drive. The 14-point lead in their territory, deep in their territory, and not coming away with points. Look, I hate the people that say, oh, you had to be there. It sounds douchey and pretentious, like the person who hates me said when he was lecturing you about doing the show. I'm not trying to sound pretentious, but I was there, and I think it matters what the vibe was in that building, because the players feel it too. If you don't think they do, listen to them. They always talk about feeding off the crowd, and our crowd gave us energy. That place was a mausoleum. That place was depressed. The guy behind us, a couple Lions fans around me, was tapping us saying, hey, go beat Mahomes for us. Good luck. They were done, and the team was done.
Dang.
If the Lions drive and get that 3 points. I mean, if the touchdown, it's really over. And just go back up 17. And they took 9 minutes off, and the 49ers are no closer. Right. The 3 points are nice. The points themselves are nice. They're huge. 2 possessions to 3. But the mental swing there, you went from we just used a third of our time to come back, and we're no closer. And instead, it was not only not that defeated attitude, the complete opposite. That decision, whether you liked it or not, you can be mad at the execution. I don't care. It's not even about the decision to go for it. It doesn't have to be. I don't want to read someone telling me how it was the right thing to do. I don't want to think about it, frankly.
And I tweeted that the next day, like, no, I'm not over it, and no, I don't want to think about it, and I don't want to hear about it. And people came at me so recklessly saying, grow up. You can't be a journalist if you can't handle it. I'm sorry. This is a team that I have only known to lose.
They're technically right, but I'll roll with you on the Lions thing, though. You're not like working for the Wall Street Journal covering the team.
Well, I also didn't have to do any team coverage that day. I'm up in Cadillac.
You're watching as a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was working the game, the watch party.
Yeah.
Which, same thing. When I tell you the energy got sucked out of Ford Field, same exact moment. It was like, you knew it was over. And not to put her on blast, I can't remember her name. She was so sweet. Oh, I feel bad. But it doesn't matter. One of the PR ladies for the Lions, she was the one that took all the journalists and stuff down to the field so that we could get shots from the field of the crowd and their reactions and stuff. Right when we got, so horrible. Right when we got on the field is when they started just tanking and everything started going wrong. And she looks at us and she goes, you guys, I am so sorry. Like, I am so suspicious. If they don't score again, like, I'm making you go back up to the press box because I'm convinced that, like, our presence on this field is what's causing them to lose.
I'm the same way.
Right now.
Yes.
And I was just like, and I looked at her and I was like, I don't even care if you're messing up like what I'm doing for work right now. Like, if it's going to help the Lions win, I will go back up to the press box. Like, I do not need to be on this field right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing where people keep saying, like, the hyper focus on the 3 points and there's no guarantee he makes it. There's not. I'm not getting into the decision, which I disagreed with. But the bottom line is, analytically, it is a coin flip. It just is. I think, and that's what. There's multiple different data services that have broken down. It is like within 0.5%.
Yeah.
On that one in particular, the other one's a little bit. It's close, but it's like 1.5% or 2% difference. I do think the situation matters.
Yeah.
You have to, and I mean the emotional situation. Obviously, the model takes into account the literal situation. The mood there, the flip. It was an avalanche that started right away, and you've seen this happen in sports a million times. The Red Sox in 2013, which I also happened to be there for that one with the Ortiz.
So maybe it's your fault.
No, because I've seen a lot of good shit too. I've seen too much good shit. Yeah, I can't wear that. The Lions were bad 40 years before I got here, but it's just that's what's so hard about it and getting through it emotionally. Where are you at on Josh Reynolds? Ben, play the Josh Reynolds thing, and then we'll get her. Because I have to bathe you in this
suffering.
Well, because I want you on my side, and if I bathe you in his failure, maybe I can swing you to. Because Natalie Sparbeck, whom we both love, like, build the statue, bring him back. I don't want the Josh Reynolds statue.
She is not saying build the statue.
That might be a slight hyperbole. Ben, let's roll that.
Go
please.
ahead.
Goff to throw. Here comes pressure. Escapes. Fires over the middle, and it is incomplete. Blitz coming. Goff over the middle, and it's dropped. Oh, it was a first down gimme, and Reynolds could not hang on.
Okay, my opinion, the second one there
was egregious.
Well, it was a much worse drop. But the second one, even if they get it, it's tie game, and they're not even quite to midfield, depending on his yak there.
Right.
Like, I still think the Lions could have gotten that first down and emotionally still shut down. It was still a lot to overcome, whatever. The first one, even though it was a tougher play, that was the Super Bowl dropped. I mean, you could go to the Gibbs fumble too. That was just terrible. That was, if that doesn't happen, I think the Lions still win.
Right.
So I could put it there, but to me, I could put the whole game on that drop. Okay, forget the decision to go for it. They went for it. They had it. And even if they just run a couple more plays and don't get it and then kick because now you're in a short field goal where they're not going to say, oh, Badgley from 48 or 45 or whatever. Like, they would have basically run out the quarter unless they had 3 straight incomplete passes. I think, my opinion, and it's not just our friend Natalie, the fan base is not mad enough about that. That is Bill Buckner.
I think it's really hard to put like an entire game of that caliber on one person.
Oh,
like,
but I'm doing it.
I know you are,
Well,
but I think the average Joe can't do that and feel okay with it because it's a team effort, obviously. I know, I roll, but it is. But yeah, watching that back sucked, by the way. Thank you, Ben. How I feel about it, I mean, he was averaging like, what, 17 yards per catch or something like that? I don't care about that.
Chips were down.
I know. But you're saying like...
The question really is, do you bring him back? Because I don't want to look at him anymore.
I know you don't want to look at him anymore, but Jared really likes him. And that's like who Jared asked to be on the team with him. But Jared, Goff, Goff, Jared.
Did Buckner play for the Red Sox the next year? Ben, can you look that up for us? How?
Well, the team does not seem to be mad at him.
The team, I don't like the way they took it, frankly. Campbell's the only one I actually liked how he took it. He was devastated and was very open about the fact, look, I don't know if we're coming back or not. He got pushback for that. It was like one of the only things he's ever said that I liked.
Well, and that was pre-Ben saying he was coming back.
Fair. That does change.
That was pre any coordinators.
But there's still no guarantee. But that does help them a lot.
That helps them a lot. If Ben Johnson doesn't come back, I'm saying we're not getting there.
I agree. I'm with you. He's huge in this whole equation.
Which, okay, I also have a question about that for you. Ben Johnson was saying he doesn't feel like he's ready to be head coach. Did he give like reasoning? Or because he's not that young. I mean, Sean McVay was super young.
Oh, Ben Johnson's what, like 37 or 38?
Yeah,
that's not. I mean, McVay was like 31 or 32. There've been multiple. Shanahan was already coached by now.
It just doesn't sound like his reason to stay is like we're gonna get a ring. It sounds like I don't feel like I'm ready. But I'm just wondering, like, are you seeing any red flags where you're like, I wouldn't want him to be my head coach?
Here's the red flag if you're a team trying to hire him, and I'm the biggest Ben Johnson guy.
Yeah.
It's nothing that he has said, but it's been credibly reported, and I believe it was The Athletic, but I can't remember. I apologize because I didn't know we were talking about this angle. But
I have
I'm glad it's an organic, open format. It's a good question.
Thank you. I'm a journalist.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, but whereas a good journalism school, it's not Michigan State, but a good J school. But no, it's been credibly reported, I believe, by The Athletic that he doesn't really want to be that leader of men locker room guy. The quote in that article about it, which again, it was not a blogger, it was like a legitimate report, was that he likes being more of a like lab rat, like kind of mad scientist cooking up plays.
That makes so much sense.
In solitude. He's not a big rah-rah guy. And there've been a couple examples of coaches like that didn't even want to be head coaches. And that's been kind of my joke is what if he really is one of those freak shows in a good way? I mean, as a compliment that just wants to cook up schemes. Like, and that might be him. So like the concern if you're a team hiring him is it's been credibly reported with no pushback that he doesn't really like the leadership stuff. And I don't think you can be a head coach and I mean, you're better off being the complete opposite. I don't think Dan Campbell's a X's and O genius.
Right.
He's the best players coach like ever, arguably.
Okay, that makes sense because I was literally just talking to Max Bolo about that with Coach Marcus Freeman since he was with him at...
Good name dropping. Look at you. Fancy bougie.
Well, they worked together at Cincinnati and that was like on the coordinator/assistant side. He was with Marcus Freeman and now he's under Marcus Freeman again, but in a head coaching role. He said it's like night and day. You can't even compare the two because it's like now it's like his job is the podium and to take care of things like that, where before it was like you said, cooking up what's happening on the field.
Totally different jobs.
Yeah, so that makes sense that they wouldn't always go hand in hand for people. That makes a lot of sense.
Even if you just look at the guy, Ben.
Yeah.
He have you ever seen his lips move? He's always just kind of like staring off, looking at his sheet. Like I've never seen the guy talk. I mean, he's had like obviously some media requirements where he has to, but he is not like running up and down the sidelines like some coordinators have in the past. And he's methodical, and he's in a good way weird. I don't mean it as a negative.
Yeah.
And, he's a fellow Tar Heel as well. So he's a former Tar Heel quarterback, Ben Johnson. I'm the biggest Ben Johnson fan in the world. What an incredible confluence of events. And this is a gift from Matt Patricia that he's even here, by the way. People forget that. That was a Patricia hire. Campbell inherited him. What a gift from the gods that even if he does leave in another year, that you got not only a coordinator that good, but a coordinator that doesn't really yearn to be a head coach. Like we just kind of stumbled into that.
Right.
And he is just such an ace. He's an A+.
He is an A+. That's all I have to say on Ben Johnson. I was just wondering.
The draft thing, though.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
backing up like 11 minutes.
Go ahead.
This is where I get the most pushback because people think I'm being stubborn. I am the most, like you were part of it. I make videos making fun of myself for how wrong I am if I think I'm wrong. It's in my bio, own your baggage. I think I'm the best in the space about trying to be accountable. I truly believe that my position on the draft that I was upset about it was still right and nothing really much has changed. What was the position in the draft that you said you got wrong? Was it anti-running back at 12?
Well, pre-draft, that wasn't even a conversation.
Right.
That wasn't an option, taking a running back at 12. I wanted Witherspoon. I remember that. I wanted Michael Mayer. Naturally.
Yeah, of course you did.
And you know what? Sam Laporta, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being bummed that we took you instead of Michael Mayer. I was wrong. That I will eat all day long because I was on 910 News saying that Mayer was everything for Notre Dame for like 2 straight seasons. So I was like, this guy is the truth. Not saying that Michael Mayer is going to be like a bust, but like, no, Sam Laporta was right.
Laporta may have been the best tight end in the league last year.
Yeah, like I got it. Yeah.
Did you see the graphic I had with him that we made, Ben and I like put together? On
No.
Laporta versus the other, like the best 5 tight ends ever and what they did in their rookie seasons.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I did see
It's
that.
hilarious. It's like, I think Ben, like Kelsey, I think was the only one that was even close. Laporta smokes the other 4. It's like Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez. I think Kittle was on there. I mean, he is so much better than everybody else. Kelsey was the only one even close, and he was better than Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, the Laporta thing I was on board with. Here's my argument. I'm curious.
That might have been like my worst take ever.
Well,
honestly.
you were biased, though.
I was.
I mean, you were pining for the Notre Dame guy at the same position. That's different.
I wanted to. We have Brock Wright.
But it's like you almost get a pass for that. Like
Thank
if it were
you.
me, like
Okay, I'll take my pass.
It's you're a fan of the school. Like if I were defending a Michigan State guy, I almost feel like you can't come after me for that. And I'll give anyone a pass for pimping someone from the school they like. But I'm curious for your position on this because I have been ripped at the time and 10 times more for not backing down.
Oh, God.
I still maintain people are like, what do you think of Jahmyr Gibbs now? It's on tape. It's in writing. I said 1,000 times. I think he's a really good player. I think he's gonna help this team a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be a guy we all like. Mm-hmm. Frankly, you look at the numbers, he wasn't even as good as people pretend he was. I think he's got a lot of room to grow. People act like he was Kamara in year 1. He wasn't. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
If you look at any objective metric, just raw stats, the analysis from PFF, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
That was never the argument. So him being good doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, that's not a gotcha.
I assumed that to begin with. So
Right.
I was with you. I would argue I was as right as ever. That offense was so good and so multidimensional.
God, I loved our offense this year.
It was awesome. I think they would have been fine without him and better off had they done exactly what I wanted. My criticisms, I was loved the Branch pick, loved the Laporta pick. It's all written.
Yeah.
I didn't like 12 and 18. And someone on Twitter, it's still up, said, oh, that's what you're going to bitch about, whatever they do. Let's get it on record now so we can get it in writing. Who did you want? And I said, Christian Gonzalez at 12, Kalijah Cansey at 18. Okay. I put it right out there. Now, Cansey, was not a PFF darling, came on later in the year. He is baby Donald, like everyone thought he could be. It was far cry. But if they have Christian Gonzalez, who had a fluke injury, he fell weird in like week 4 or 5 with New England. He was a top 10 tight end in the league or cornerback in the league for the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Couldn't I argue the Lions would have been better off because who knows if he gets hurt? It was one play, the whole sequence, sliding doors changes. Couldn't I argue they would have been better off trading Jahmyr Gibbs in that NFC Championship game for a shutdown number one corner, like if before the game or at any point in the season, but just even keeping it to the NFC Championship game, I'd much rather have the number one cornerback.
Yeah.
So
our secondary is so thin, and also if I could pick what happens in free agency and the draft, it's free agency, go get like a vet for like honestly, if it's expensive and they're good plug and play for next year when we want to go back and actually get to the Super Bowl, go for it. And then if you want to use, honestly, even 29, or one of the later ones, a guy that you think you can develop under said person, because CJ Gardner-Johnson is not that. Sorry.
You ripped CJ Gardner-Johnson in the intro.
That's another thing with the attitudes that piss me off. It was the same shit that I was talking about before, where I have to like remove myself, like I don't know them and whatever, they're gonna be assholes, whatever. But anyway, that's what I want to happen. I would like to honestly get 2 corners, if that makes sense. One in free agency and one in the draft.
So double dip, one from each pool then. Okay. I think most people in our boat, reasonably intelligent Lions fans, not to pat ourselves on the back, have some variation of the same thing. It's like you got to double dip at corner, whether it's draft, free agent, and then you have to get at least one. Well, not at least one. You're not going to get 2 edges. You already got one on the other side. Yeah. You could go interior lineman, and you can never have enough pass rushers, but not as a point of emphasis. But the takeaway is they have to add a high-end guy at both, right? That's my question for you. Edge and corner.
Yeah.
They can't go one or the other.
No, it's not.
Do you think they do that? Holmes,
see, that's the thing. I don't
know.
I don't know.
He seems like he's not going to spend. They could have had Daniil Hunter on this past year's team, and they probably would have won the Super Bowl. But he didn't want to give up. The report was he was available, but they were asking for a lot, and they would have done it for any first-round pick. I said at the time, at the time it was looking like the 25th pick. It would have ended up being worse, obviously. Mm-hmm. I said at the time, they can have it. I'm going to go win in the Super Bowl right now.
Right. That's what they need to think of.
And then resign him anyway.
This year, right now, has to be like win now. Free agency has to be win now.
Yes.
Draft can be let's do the Jack Campbell thing. Let's make him play every preseason game, and let's like slowly work him in, sort of thing. And hopefully it'll work out. I'm not mad at that. Right now, like our highest pick being 29, honestly, I'm not worried about it, because the fall off by the time you get to 29, you get great people. Late pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hello. But like, I don't know. I don't see us drafting anyone that is like going to be with those numbers 100% like plug and play, go. You're a starter. You are going to be a start. I think that the regime we have right now is so comfortable being patient that I don't know. I'm not really worried about it. Free agency is where I'm like, I want to plug and play. I want to win.
Window. Everyone's getting more expensive. It's a freak fluke that Ben Johnson is still somehow here. It's a gift from the gods.
That's what I'm saying. Don't waste it. I will freak out. I will freak out. Lions, do not waste it.
Well, here's the question, and then we'll end here on this topic.
Okay.
Our friend Natalie gave a brilliant, it was like a 4-minute voice note take in our group chat.
Oh, yeah. It was so good.
And
I was walking my dog like, listening to her.
She's really smart, and she just has a great voice. It's like she could do like a what is it, the Audible, like read books on tape.
Yes.
But okay, here's her position effectively. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
She said as far as the draft goes, she thinks she doesn't know what they're gonna do, but she has my prediction is to expect the unexpected take. She's actually gonna be surprised if they take an edge or a corner at that pick.
And honestly, same, because like last year was so far off. Last year's needs were the exact same as this year's needs, and they didn't address any of them. So I'm like, that's why people ask me all the time. I'm like, I can tell you all day what I want them to do. Is it going to be what they do? Absolutely not.
So you think we're seeing, the draft?
I think hell would freeze over before they did what everyone wants. Genuinely.
Well, okay. So your position is that we're going to wake up the next morning, still in Detroit for day 2, for round 2, having been shocked or surprised, at least with what they do. That's your take. You're with Natalie on that.
Yeah.
I'm actually not. I think it's going to be kind of boring in a good way. I
hope it's boring.
Is good.
I hope you're right.
I think there's 7-8 cornerbacks like in that, in the any scouting service you look at. I know mock drafts are fickle and I don't respect a lot of the people that make them, but even like the smart scouting services and PFF, any list you look at from that like 22 to like 36 range, it is loaded with secondary players and a few edges sprinkled in. Between the two positions, it's like 8 of 16 or 9 of 16. It's really stacked like in that glob. A couple of these guys just mathematically are going to be there,
right?
And I don't care which one. I trust Brad Holmes. He's earned that at this point. Pick your favorite one.
Exactly.
But is it not like my argument? I think in the group chat, I think I said this. Let's say you're Brad Holmes and you got your draft board like everyone has, and this is your final call. And let's go on a number system. Let's say you got an 84 on any position but the two we're talking about. Not secondary, non-edge. You got an 84 out of 100 on this guy. And you got an 80 on an edge or a corner. Do you take the best player available if you're Brad Holmes, or do you go position and need? It's not a huge gap.
Right.
To me, the best player available stuff is normally the play.
Yeah.
This year, this situation, I'm taking the 80. I'm going below my own board.
I think I'm with you just because it's like I don't know how you ignore the needs that are just so clearly there where we're okay everywhere else. Like Natalie was talking about, I can see them taking a wide receiver with 29 just because like best player available kind of thing. And like, Nat, love you. If they do that, I'm screaming my goddamn head off because...
and the guy might even be good.
And that's fine. And that's great. But like, we had so many options and it was fabulous. I loved that this Lions offense this year. I didn't know where the ball was going. There wasn't like a rhythm. We had people that we were changing in and out. Josh Reynolds, for instance. Sorry, trigger warning. Yeah. But like, it's fun to operate that way. But right now, it's like if we get another wide receiver, I'm like, why? Ours are fine.
You're in a position.
Great, even.
This is the definition of a draft for any scenario.
Yeah,
and
has to be.
You have two to pick from. I mean, you can edge or corner, and the draft seems to be shaking out, like we said, where there's a lot of those prospects. Here, that's the thing; it's not going to be a big reach. Like there's times that you're a team and you're picking 15th, and you really need a quarterback, but there's not one worthy of that. Yeah. I wouldn't say reach around early for any position, especially that one. This is a case where you're not going to have that problem. There's multiple good it's a luxury. You got options. It's not even 1, 2, 3 guys. Like I said, there's going to be somewhere between 4 and 6 guys left in that grouping. You got to like one of them, Brad.
Right. Please
like one of them. I will be so mad if they go off board in some weird way, unless there's the caveat they could trade back in and whatever, and then get what they need. But I want them to stay kind of boring. I'm
with you.
I'm predicting boring. I think I'm gonna get what I want.
Okay, but I'm not predicting boring, but I'm hoping for boring.
This won't be boring. Are you ready to have the discussion?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Serious discussion. What do you make of? You've been following, I think to some degree, the saga with Woodward, and we had
I watched Jeff.
Yeah, we had our friend Jeff in, and you were there for how long was it?
Altogether, probably about a year. Yeah, almost exactly a year. So I started as an intern, December of 2020, and then worked through December 21. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. So you had a healthy amount of time there. It wasn't like a 2-week internship. You were entrenched in the...
So what happened was I went in, I did an interview over Christmas break. Then I went back to school and I was doing the Belizean and Bell show remotely, setting up guests and sending them like a show prep kind of thing every day, just so they had topics and stats to look at if they needed to. So I was just doing that from my bed because it was COVID. All of my classes were online. So, I mean, it was a pretty easy internship. And then the second I graduated, I literally graduated like May 2nd or something. And then May 3rd, I was in Detroit working full time.
We'll start here in terms of the direct evidence of what we're talking about. But we'll just say...
Do I need to put my glasses on?
I stumbled into... Well, if you want to read that, yeah. Okay. I kind of stumbled into this stuff and had heard stuff over the years, like pre-Woodward, and it's just, it's gossipy. People talk about me and say stuff about me that's not true, whatever. I'm not going to report on it. But as things at Woodward turned and some people started to leave and friends of mine left and like things started to pick up, and I was just asking questions, honestly, and having asked these questions, my inbox just was deluged with messages, stories, accounts, people asking to come on, people in some cases, please don't use my name, but here's some background. I was not looking for any story here. It was just kind of talking about like, hey, I don't like what they're doing here, just in a sort of media criticism standpoint. And I was just getting flooded with these accounts. And this is stuff that was public, though. We'll start here.
Okay.
These are just things that people are saying to me, like in replies. Here's just a couple examples. This guy, Chad from Lady Jane's, has always been a piece of trash. Everyone in Detroit media who's been stuck working with him due to his ad spending is well aware. I mean, you can go to the next one, just he's going on. Doing what I do for a living, I've come across a lot of people who try and bully people into getting what they want. When I met him, meaning Chad, he's probably the worst of all. Definitely some little man syndrome going on. Ben, you can keep rolling. My girlfriend is a teacher where his kids went to school. He treated the teachers and staff the same way he treats his Woodward employees. Not shocked by these group texts. So for the record, that's all hearsay. Right. I didn't vet any of that stuff. That was all public. Like if it were a DM with that, just because I get DM'd hearsay all the time, I wouldn't share them on a show like this, but they were publicly posted and still up there. So I'm not backing or standing for the validity of any of those, but I'm using that to paint the picture of that kind of stuff is what I keep hearing and what people keep saying. Conversely, I don't have anybody in my responses replies publicly, you can check them, or my DM saying, look, Justin, you got this wrong. And I have had it for other people. Ryan Armani has some friends in the media, for example, that's like, hey, like I like him, he's a nice guy, can you lay off?
I was one of those people one time.
Well, I didn't. It's fine. You were one of them. It's a great point. I honestly didn't even think about that, but you were one of them. But you're not the only one, though. He has people that like him, and I respect that. That's fine. You know, and that's actually normal. Virtually everyone I've ever commented on in any type of negative way, especially in the media where we all kind of know each other, there's always a few people that are like, oh, come on now. Like there's always mutual friends. You always get that. I haven't gotten that with this guy, Chad. You've seen what they're saying. We'll get into some of the hard evidence in a minute, but like, what was your experience there just in general? Like, I mean, you don't get in any legal hot water here, but
please no.
You can talk about your experience. Like, what was it like working for that guy? Because it doesn't seem all that nice, I got to admit.
So to be completely honest, I was the only, until Megan, our video editor, Megan, worked there. I was the only girl in the office that wasn't working for Lady Jane's. So, and the Lady Jane's girls, to my knowledge, were like told not really to like hang out with us. Like, yeah. So,
dude, why? You know why?
He would just say like that those were that were separate. Those were his Dallas Cowboys, and we were not. So, like, Lady Jane's is his moneymaker, basically, and Woodward was not that profitable. Mind you, I was, like, there in year one. I don't know what things, like, look like now. But
you were
like,
a startup,
Yeah, so he wanted them separate, which, fine. Those are your businesses. Do your thing. I wasn't, like, vying to hang out with the hairdressers anyway, so it's, like, fine. But I'm sure maybe some of the guys were bummed, because, obviously, beautiful women. But how do I put this? I was a part of 2 different shows, right? So I had Belizean and Bell when I started. That was great. I learned a lot under Sean Belizean, I will say. And working with Joik was something. It was like I was a personal assistant, but like Joik was one of my favorite players growing up, so I was happy to do it. And we became buddies.
He's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy. And it was all in like good fun. Like he wasn't really treating me like he was his personal assistant. Sometimes the line was a little bit blurred, but I love him to absolute death. And when I really need something, he still comes through. Like when I did that line show, Joik came through and gave me an interview. So it was a really last minute show that I had to put together. Yeah, loved working for Sean. And then the opportunity came. I still don't even honestly really know how it happened, the morning show. Like it was one way one day, and the next day it was me, Adam, and Terry, maybe? Terry Foster? And then it morphed. I think it was that for like 3 days. And then it was me, Adam, and Jeff. And it just like clicked. And that was great. Working with those two, they're a blast. That we had an absolute ball every single day. I know you're like looking for the text stuff. I was in some of those group chats, the texts that have been like released. Like I can say that those are real text messages. Some of them I was not a part of. They were like ownership chats or like, I don't really know, producer chats. I don't know. Since I was on the morning show and then I did Hot Clock. So I would come in and do Hot Clock, which is a social media video for the people that don't know, just kind of running through like the 5 top Detroit topics of the day. And so I would do that. I would come in, write Hot Clock, script Hot Clock, do the show, film Hot Clock, do the Hot Clock live read, ad read for, at the time, I don't think it exists anymore, The Roar, the radio station. Because we were like simulcast. I don't know. So I had like
anything that's associated with them hasn't done well typically. But
no. It was the radio station that would play the podcast like 30 minutes late. So they were like, it was like, I don't know. But no, I think I had different treatment, and to say that didn't suck would be a lie. You know what I mean? I wasn't treated well by like everyone there, but I definitely wasn't treated the worst. And it was hard to watch. Like, I don't think Adam would be upset with me saying this, and so I'll go ahead and say it. But like watching someone that like you like love and adore and respect, like, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
But like, he was like my best buddy there, you know, and like watching him like get like physically ill from like how hard he was working. And you could see it on the show, like pale, sunken eyes, like getting thin, like he, you know, could barely eat, you know, could barely go take a shit because he was working like 24 hours a day. So like to watch that was tough. And obviously like a lot of people don't know this, but I was the producer of that show when I was on it. And so like I would try and do like everything I could, but like, and I don't think people understand this either. Adam did everything. Like, I'm not kidding. He, like, figured out all the audio shit, all the camera shit, was helping, like, when I was an intern, teaching me how to make graphics, dealing with sales, like, everything that could go into running an operation like that, like, he had a hand in all of it. And very like little help, like and that's not shade to anyone, but like he was the operation, and like watching what's happened sucks ass.
Well, definitely in the aftermath, you know, and that's part of my motivation, how he's been treated sort of post exit and at the end.
Sorry, I was not trying to cry.
No, I've had a couple crying conversations from former employees there, so you're not even the first one. Not on camera, but
fuck.
But the experience with him there, like when he was there before he left.
Yeah,
I've heard different things, but you know, and I've seen some of the messages. Like, yeah, I mean, from like about him, I don't even think he was in some of these group chats, and some of them I haven't reported yet. Sure. Some I have. My perception is, despite all that work he was doing. Mm-hmm. He was treated maybe not as poorly as anyone, but pretty close. Mm. He didn't seem to be appreciated there. Is that your impression from when you were with him?
So like, it's hard. So a lot of that stuff I think took place in group chats or in meetings I was not involved in, honestly. You could see every day him getting more stressed out and more tired. Like I do believe those things happened. I was not there, so I don't know. I know he was I can give you an example, but I know he's put in like weird situations, like being on a managerial level. For instance, this was like, oh my god. So I have a private Snapchat that like has just like my closest buds on it. And so I get like a notification basically every day. And it's like, guess what? Crying at work again, always there. Like I'm a crier. Like let's call it what it is. I cry all the time, but like I've not cried at work since working there, if that tells you anything. But I feel so bad because I was so pissed at him at the time, and honestly a lot of other guys there. Adam pulled me aside, and this was like the morning show was pretty fresh. And he told me like, hey, I need you to like take better care of your appearance. And I was like, what's up? Yeah, we'd really like if you did like your hair and makeup different every day. And I had multiple conversations with people like that. Mind you, the guys that I was working with were all in sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats every day. And I was told that I needed to like do my hair and makeup differently every day. Oh, and that they extra like it when I wear red lipstick. That was the big thing, wear red lipstick. So in that sense, like I became very, very, very insecure while I was there. Like I became like hyper aware of like how I looked all the time. Because like my favorite person in the world is Kay Adams, and at the time she was on Good Morning Football, and she would always be like messy bun, glasses on, looking so cute in like a Bengals sweatshirt or whatever. And so I like wanted to give that same vibe. Like I was just like on a mic and in a big comfy chair. Why would I? But like I was treated differently. Like I had to dress nice. I mean, if you look at the tape, I didn't actually do it.
You were rebellious.
Not even, but like I said, I came in early to like write Hot Clock and stuff. I was at Woodward at like 5 a.m. I'm not dunking my head in makeup and curling my hair. Be so for real right now. Like I'm not doing that. And I'm just like not that kind of gal, honestly. I catch myself now even like doing the news. I'm like, oh, I should probably look nicer than I do. Like everyone else is in like dresses and suits, and I'm always in jeans and like maybe a button-up shirt. But that's just who I am. I'm a very casual gal. I'm the daughter of a PE teacher. So my mom's, clothes growing up to go to work were sweatpants and like a tracksuit. I'm just a comfy gal. But yeah, like having conversations like that at work, like I've not had happen since. And I'm arguably in like a more, forward facing kind of position now, with the news, like a more buttoned up kind of thing. So I don't know, that was like the most hurtful thing that happened to me. And that's like why I was constantly kind of emotional while I was there.
Oh, and the issue really is the disparity you're talking about. Like if they're a company and they say everybody has to dress, I mean, obviously men and women dress differently, but everyone has the same sort of baseline standard.
If everyone was in button-ups and khakis, then I would have like not felt weird about it.
It's the difference.
Yeah, and you can like, and that's not me saying like anything people don't know. You can go watch any show. They're all in sweatpants and sweatshirts. And as they should be. It's a podcast. Like that, look at what I'm wearing right now. Like it's fine. I'm not shading anyone or saying like they look frumpy. Some people did. But like
Justin Rogers from the Detroit News shows up here in like basketball shorts, and it looks like he's ready to go to the Y after.
Yeah, but like why not? So I don't know.
Chill here. Huh?
Yeah, that was really hurtful, and the worst part was like I knew it wasn't coming from Adam. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, this like the red lipstick thing. What was like the backstory there? What is the origin of that?
I was just told that the owner liked when I did that.
Okay, so it was a Chad edict is what I'm asking. I just wanted to clarify. Like, I didn't know who was getting that pinned down.
I remember, like...
to be honest.
Adam said something to, like, the, degree of... He, like, hinted that there had been a conversation about it. And that's why I knew it wasn't coming from him. Because I think he didn't do it to hurt me. He did it to say, like, this isn't me saying this kind of thing. But then it was like, oh, so there's a group chat of grown-ass men talking about my appearance. Do you know what I mean? Like, how nasty that sits with someone to be like, oh, so there was, like, probably 5 people in, like, the management group chat. And to know that they're, like, just probably picking apart what I wore, what my hair looked like. She's not wearing makeup. She looks gross. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, like really, I was like, oh, great. So there's group chats to talk about how I look each day. And that's like, you know what I mean? That just like gets in your head. You can't shake that. And then it was just like, the last months that I worked there, it was like all I could think about was so self-conscious constantly.
And that, I mean, I believe you not just because, I know you're a credible person, but I haven't seen yours, but I have seen a different exchange about a different female employee where
sure.
the physical appearance was discussed. We have not released that yet. I don't know whether or not I will. I probably actually want to talk to her first. She's not the one who provided it, so she doesn't know I have it.
Right.
And it might be...
She might not know it even happened, honestly.
I'm sure she doesn't. But that's partly why it's like, okay, do we do it? Because my main goal is just accountability and kind of making sure people can't be treated this way.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be upsetting to the person. So I don't know, we'll talk about that, with her, if she doesn't want it out at all, wants her name redacted. Mm-hmm. But point being, I've seen it.
There's 3 of us to choose from, truly. Take your swing.
It's not great. It's effectively comments about weight and, general appearance and things I can't imagine. I mean, Darren McCarty showed up to my show as a guest and on his own shows. I mean, he looks like he's like working in a maintenance shop or something like that.
That's his vibe.
Yeah, he's like a mechanic or something.
But that's kind of the difference, gender-wise there, I guess, is it's cool and it's funny and it's quirky to, like, be a man that, you know what I mean, presents themselves in a more relaxed way. But, like, when a girl does it, it's not okay.
But aren't they going?
But women can't be funny.
But they're going the complete opposite direction of, especially sports media, but media in general, but especially sports media. We talked about it last time you were here. It's making such a conscious effort to go away from boys will be boys and girls are different. I mean, it's like a conscious effort to repudiate that and to repel against that. They seem to be going like kind of backwards in time with how it was like in the early 90s almost.
Right. Yeah. I can't speak to that. I haven't been there lately, but.
Well, I'm talking from your experience though.
Yeah.
Because this didn't even come from you. Maybe you'll dispute it. I don't know. And you don't even have to comment either way. But I was told that you were part of it, but you weren't the only one. I was told by a man there that the women were talked to differently, even in more subtle ways, like kind of like nicknames and stuff like, hey, come over here, honey, sweetie, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever have that happen?
Yeah.
So you can verify that guy said, because that guy named all the girls as having been on the receiving end of that. It wasn't just you.
Yeah. But honestly, my relationship with Chad was so different. I didn't think of that as a weird thing. If I'm being completely blunt, I didn't.
That's your boundary. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that was weird, but I could imagine someone else that wasn't as involved with him prior to Woodward being a thing.
There's actually a dude that was mad about it. Wasn't any of
well, I mean, I've never heard it from one of the girls that worked there that it was a problem. And when I say one of the girls, I mean Megan or Maddie.
Yeah. Process elimination. It's pretty tight.
I don't, and that's no shade to Gabby. I just don't know her and I haven't asked her. So
yeah, no, that's fine. It's the whole, I'm just more curious in your experience there because it's we're friends, but we haven't done any deep dive conversations on this really.
Right.
Partly, and I'm just interested because I do think it's interesting that this company, which is, what a lot of people in my shoes wanted to see happen, just people that like media and like particularly new media.
Totally.
And I think the city needed what they're doing.
The concept was so smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's something we've discussed for years, on my old website, this show before Woodward was even a thing, someone with FU money needs to come in here and just be I don't give a fuck, I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to hire who I want to hire.
Yeah.
We got that, but it's like a monkey's paw. You got your wish, but it came back in a bad way. It came true in the worst possible manifestation, I would argue. I don't have any contrary takes on this guy. It's bad across the board. And I only stick to in terms of what I'll say publicly because I know he's litigious and come get me if you want. Try me again.
Don't try me.
Don't try it with you. You haven't said anything. But and frankly, neither have I. He tried once. And that's the thing. Some of these things that are out there, it's he doesn't know all that I know. Be careful opening up that discovery, sir. That's not a good battle for you. I wouldn't want that if I were you. And the point being, there's no counter to him. It's all just this one kind of negative thing, except for there's a couple people still there that don't defend him, but defend
Yeah, it's in a weird spot right now, and it stinks because like I like people there.
So do I.
So it's like I don't want to. I don't know.
It's not anti them.
It's not anti them. It's not.
It's pro them.
Pro them for sure. 100%.
It's not even like neutral. It's pro them.
Yeah, 100%.
People should not be talked to that way. And on that note,
yeah,
Ben. These have not been released yet.
Oh wait, what?
I do not believe these have been released.
Oh no!
So,
oh my god, I have to put my glasses on.
Can I say the R word in a quote without? Is that bad in 2024?
Yes.
I mean, I don't say it in my.
It will get clipped.
For
Remember
quoting,
that.
Okay, a fucking
Bleep.
slur word for someone with deficits and a really bad word to use. Who's not even involved with know that these giveaways only pop off for 36 to 48 hours. The body been told how to do them, when to do them. They're not coachable. 2 years of being told and still making the mistakes. You already have one giveaway that's up right now that's supposed to be given away on Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to read all this nonsense. He's just roasting them for some element of how a giveaway was posted. And he goes,
This is hilarious.
They're all hilarious. And he concludes this with, I just told you the answer. So if there be any reason why you do giveaways that last for 5 days, no, there should not be one reason, but they don't understand the business.
Okay, so this is the thing. I've gotten like pretty good at deciphering these. If I'm being completely honest, I've gotten really good at it. So he's just mad that there were 2 promotional giveaways going on at the same time because people like couldn't interact with both. They needed to wait for one of them to die down before they re-upped the next.
I understand.
That's what I'm getting.
The sad thing about this, though, is, I mean, notwithstanding the first 3 words there,
Yeah.
it's
can go.
This is like the most tame thing he has, or one of the most tame things.
I was gonna say thank you.
This isn't even that bad.
No.
But it's partly because we've been conditioned to it being so bad and seeing the other stuff. Like if a friend of mine was like, "Hey, look how my boss talks to us at work," I'd be like horrified reading that.
Right.
The first 3 words alone are insane.
Yeah.
And so you were in some of these, not all of them. Like I
Correct.
What you're sitting there, you're doing whatever you're doing, like, and that pops up on your phone.
I was laughing. If I'm being honest,
you laughed at the time.
I laughed at well, okay, and here's the thing, and it's not because I think language like that is funny. I definitely do not. I do not condone that. I'll make that very clear.
Yeah.
But they were never directed at me. I was just like in the group chat. So I could just like not reply, read it, and be like, oh my God. I would just see like how long it was sometimes, and I would be like, I'm good on that. Like, I don't really need that energy today. You know what I mean? Like, I always knew like I had the option to ignore because I was in that position to do so. Like, I wasn't a manager. I was like very seldom doing graphics. After the first couple months, I wasn't on the social media team anymore. It was like I did Hot Clock and I did the morning show. And besides like Adam's rants sometimes, like he never really had issues with the morning show. So, and he certainly didn't have my like my notes during the morning show would just be like laugh more, smile more, which is very mild compared to
Oh yeah, I mean I'll take that any day of the week. Like
Yeah.
the Adam thing, like you said, I mean obviously emotional thing for you, and we both love the guy and care about him. I mean I think the natural question is, if you're hearing that as an audience member and you don't know the context, was it just a guy that's a workaholic and was putting himself through that, or was there pressure on him to work at that level? Because that, you know, if the guy's just a lunatic and is showing up when they're not asking him to be there, that's kind of on you. You know, maybe the employer should, in theory, force them to, hey, get out of here, go sleep or whatever. Mm-hmm. But do you feel like he had it put on him that he had to perform at that level to the point where it was running him into the ground, or was that more him just being a said with love Adam, like a nut job?
Yeah. No, that's a really good question. And I haven't really, I think it was maybe somewhere in between. The pressure was certainly there, but I think it's just in Adam's nature to not be a quitter. And he knew that no one else was going to pick up the slack and that no one else was going to stay through 4 or 5 live shows, whatever it was. Stay after to make sure all the equipment was fine, turned off, did it up. Like, yeah, he's just a workhorse. But also, like, if he didn't do it, it wasn't getting done. And then texts like that pop up on your phone.
So it kind of is that, because
I don't know. I don't want to speak for Adam, but like that's how I would.
Well, I'm asking for your interpretation.
Yeah.
I know you can't say definitively. It's just like what your feeling is from having watched it, and there's some subjectivity there. Unless there's an edict in writing to do stuff, it is going to be, you know.
I think a lot of it was probably like he had invested, not just like emotionally in this company and putting his name on it, but like I think financially as well. Like, I'm sure. And like, I don't know, like what those contracts look like or anything like that from that perspective. But like, yeah, obviously he wouldn't want it to flop. And I think he just kind of like put it on his back, honestly.
Having seen him work that hard for all that time before you got there, during your time.
I hope I'm not saying anything that's pissing him off, by the way. Love you, Adam.
Yeah, he's running a little hot these days, too.
No, I know. I'm like, this is not a good Adam.
Got to be careful. He likes us, though. He'll give us some slack. But, you know, having witnessed what you did, you know, where he's working that hard, and, you know, I'm sure you knew he worked hard before. And since...
I mean, it was to the point where we were begging him to go take a nap.
It was unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I've told him that, too, just as his friend. Having seen that and felt that way to the point where you're emotional about it, what do you make of the aftermath where he was, you know, basically told he can't do a show and they're enforcing this non-compete and he has to, I don't want to reveal everything. Some of it he said publicly, some he hasn't. But it's well known and he's admitted publicly, or, you know, not admitted, he's clarified publicly. Chad will not let him do a show.
Right.
And to me, my take on it is that's a really shitty thing to do, given all that Adam did for years there, things that were way beyond his job description, even though you know, he's a part owner. Nobody worked harder than that guy and did more for the company. Does it bother you how he's being treated after you're both out of there?
Certainly. I think when Adam started with Woodward, he was really young. He's my age, right? 24, 25?
He's older than that.
No, now he's older.
Oh, you mean when he started, he's your age now? Yes.
Like when he became a part owner of Woodward Sports, he was 24 or 25 years old.
Yep.
I could not imagine investing in anything right now. I don't even know how to. So like, to me, and this is like my opinion, a lot of the people there are like just people that want a shot that are getting taken advantage of because they're young. They don't have degrees. You know, like a lot of people are really desperate to be in the spots that like we are. People just like to have a microphone in a nice studio, like people would die for that. And that's just the truth. And so that makes them very easy to manipulate. But what the interesting thing about Adam is he wasn't even in this position. You know that. You had to beg him. Like, we wanted more Adam on the mic.
It's my fault. I dragged him on stage.
Yeah, you did, because he was just behind the scenes to start, honestly. So I don't really know. I don't know. That's so bizarre, actually, now that I think about it, because it's not like it took him a long time to get like permanently behind the mic. Like almost a year. So I don't know. Maybe he's just a psycho, but probably not.
I mean, he's definitely in a nice way workaholic psycho, but to me, it's an implied edict. If this guy's already doing all this stuff and getting all this stuff running and doing his own show, and he's working as an unlicensed therapist, effectively putting out all these fires with employees with different issues.
Yeah,
it's an implied edict and directive that if you don't do all this crap, there's going to be an angry text message berating you.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day,
forced.
Okay, well, here's the other thing. You know, I've like said enough, so I'll just like keep going at this point because why not? Like salaries would be pulled.
Pulled. Like withheld.
Like yeah, if you ticked him off to a certain extent, like you would just not get paid. Like it would be like it's a privilege for you to work here. Kind of thing, and you can work your way into making money again. There are I've heard
a lot of weird shit. I've not heard that one.
No, there are people still there that have had their salaries pulled before.
Did that happen to you at any point?
No. I was an angel.
Well,
you're forgetting that.
There's a lot of people that didn't do anything wrong that are getting.
That's true. That's true. No, I just like wasn't.
Criminals he's yelling at here. Let's face it.
I was not in a position to. I had like unfair treatment.
What's an example, and you don't have to name the person or specific. What's the type of thing that happened that would get salary pulled, which is not even, that's against the law, but I mean, I don't know the contract.
I'm trying to think.
I can't imagine that's not against the law. I'm speculating. I don't know your labor agreements, but
the contracts there were not written by lawyers, first of all. So
I've read a couple of them. They're part of the discovery too.
But honestly, it would just be like, I guess, messing up in his eyes enough.
But messing up how? Messing up like I made a pass at a coworker and
no,
or I made a mistake on citing a statistic.
Yeah, not
that petty.
Not that petty, but like
I got to dial this in because this is crazy.
Yeah, no, it is. You just piss him off in the right way on the right day, I fear is the answer. And I know that's not like a good answer, but like that's the only thing I could think of.
How long? Like
I don't know. So a lot of people were offered like, I hope I'm not misrepresenting this, but I truly do not think I am. When they were in a position like that, they were told like, oh, if you sell something, you can get commission and that's how you can get paid. But like you weren't salaried anymore until he felt like you could be again.
Did they withhold money? Were you told that they withheld money that was already owed? Or did they take somebody off salary? That's a little bit of a different.
Oh,
that's a distinct.
See, I'm stupid. I don't even know the difference.
Well,
like I think just
let's say okay. I don't.
Maybe it was just threatening too.
What were you paid every 2 weeks? The salaried people there. That's standard. Let's say you were.
I don't know.
Doesn't even matter. Let's say you were every 2 weeks. So you worked the first 9 days of that period, you know, and you're coming up on the next paycheck, and you pissed him off. Does he withhold the 9 days you've already worked? Or does he say going forward, you're not?
I have no idea because
that's the difference. And that's a huge difference. Now, they're both nonsense.
Yeah,
they're both insane bullying tactics and terrible labor practice. But that is a huge difference, though.
No, I understand what you're saying. But the thing is, it never happened to me, so I don't really know. Yeah. I would just hear people saying,
I'll find out.
Yeah, you can find out. I'm not going to. But like, I would just hear from people being like, yeah, like, so. And I guess like maybe it was like hearsay, but I truly don't think it was truly, because I've heard it from multiple people like, oh, so-and-so, like Chad took off. They can only like make commission now, or you know what I mean? Like sell something for him and then get 5-10%, whatever.
Hopefully.
Well, I don't know actually what the percentage was, but that's like a guesstimate.
Yeah. I mean, wonderful. I gotta be careful. I'm hearing.
Yeah, no.
I'm hearing
Wade Fink. I'm sorry.
Like I know. In my ear.
Wade's like great. Now I gotta like help Kennedy too.
I mean, I went to law school. I'm pretty dialed in, but like this is not what I do. You know. I know so much that I know is true, but.
Yeah, you're not really telling me what I can and can't say, so I'm just gonna say allegedly all of that happened.
No, you've been fine.
Okay.
But the problem is there's things that are hearsay, but I don't technically have the evidence for, and it would never.
And that would be one of the things. Technically, that is hearsay, and I don't have evidence for it. But I heard it enough to believe that it's true. It's
still and he's a public figure. He's subjected to the actual malice standard. He would have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Well, no, it'd be preponderance of evidence, civil court. He'd have to prove that you knowingly lied about it.
Saying a lot of words that I don't know.
Well, it's criminal versus civil. Criminal is like beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil is basically more likely than not. It could be like 51% to 49%. But he would have to prove that you knew it was untrue and you lied about it basically to hurt him.
And that's the thing. It's like I'm not really out to hurt anybody. Like I said, like not
telling your story, Kennedy.
What?
You're just telling your story.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, a lot of it didn't happen to me, and the stuff that did happen to me was so mild in comparison to what you've seen. Like obviously I can confirm some of the text messages. Like I was in those group chats. I'm sure you can see like a KB on the top of the group somewhere. That's me. Like I can't lie about that. I was in there.
I would have been sued by now if there was a single one I posted that wasn't true.
Right.
I mean, I'm curious for your take on this. My position, and I laid it out with Jeff Iafrate when he was here and he was telling his story, and I think he mostly agreed with me. My position is not the Kennedy Broadwells, not the Jeff Iafrates, not the people fresh out of college, the Ryan Ermanis. I don't know how much Sean Belichin knew about there. I honestly don't know, but
I don't either. That was pretty early days.
Right. So I'm not throwing him under the bus, but people like him,
yeah.
Sean Belichin, that are established and frankly don't really need this job and they're not trying to get their start.
Yeah.
Tom Mazaway, Braylon Edwards. My argument is these people, I've been told, and take Belichin out of it because I haven't been told that, but the others I mentioned, yes. I'm told that they are all very well aware of this, that they're in some of these chats and
Okay.
like they're seeing this mistreatment, what I view as mistreatment.
Yeah.
My position is, in their position, if I'm seeing a young person fresh out of college getting treated that way,
yeah.
I wouldn't tolerate it. I'm not saying go throw the guy's papers off his desk and kick a wall and, and punch him.
Right.
But I would not stand for that. I would stick up for the young. Most of these people in my mentions are either, not mentions in my DMs, these stories were either unpaid or paid like $300 a month in one case, allegedly. I think there's an onus on people who have the ability to speak up to say something. Is that fair?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of like the group chats I was in. So like the one that would get messages a lot was like just like called like WSN content or something like that. And I think that was so early days. This is a little insider knowledge. Early days, every single person had access to social media. Every single person in the company had access to the social media pages.
Well, smart.
And we were put on schedules, like 2-hour shifts, like, a couple times a week. And it was like your shift to like post like 5 times an hour or whatever it was. I don't really remember the actual like numbers, but there was like basically a quota we had to hit, which sucks sometimes when there was nothing going on. You're like pulling stuff out of your ass. It was horrible. I hated social media shifts. I always tried to change and get out of mine. But because I was like, what do I have to say? Like, it's the dead of summer. The Tigers aren't playing today. Like, what am I going to say? And that's when you get all the like polls and like the early days kind of content before even like they, Woodward, it was like decent at graphics. Like, it was just a hot mess express. So that was like everyone was in that group chat, I think, except for the bigger names, the Joikes, the Shawns, the whoever. They weren't in that chat because they didn't have social media shifts. That's like the chat I remember like popping off the most. So they weren't in those. So I don't know. That was like the main chat that like I remember.
I mean, here's what I'll say. For whatever benefit of the doubt we're giving them, and I'm happy to do that. Mm-hmm. For things that I can't prove, I'm happy to default to that because I have enough that I can prove. I don't need any leaps of faith.
Yeah.
But even that aside, they're well aware of what I've been sharing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like now there's absolutely no excuse.
They know now.
Yeah.
If they didn't know then,
even if they blocked you, they know.
They know. I've seen exchanges and been told about exchanges about me sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
A couple of them were very mad at Jeff, I was told.
Oh, no, they're going to be mad at me now.
Having come on the show. Well, I think you have enough distance from it, but he had like just walked off the set. Basically.
That's so true.
Not literally,
Jeff was
but
fresh.
That was like a week later. So, maybe you have a little more distance. But
yeah, definitely.
There was what I would argue, it felt like whistleblower, not retribution like in the traditional labor sense where a boss is punishing you, but like socially. Yeah. From those people, like some of the people that I would expect to like stand up for the little guy, quote unquote, that's trying to make it fresh out of college. It's a complete opposite. They're like mad in some cases, not all, but some cases, they're mad at Jeff for having come on. And I'm sorry, that's where when people at Woodward, who overwhelmingly, including some people that are there right now, support what I'm doing. Yeah. And basically everybody, I can't think of a single exception of all the people that left support what I'm doing with this. When they come after me in these cases, like Easy, saying, you're not helping us, you don't care, and we're a unit and we're doing what we got to do, and like it's a new brand and a new era and what all that nonsense. Yeah. The same week that this is being sold, they're talking about what an asshole people are for having told their own stories of what I would argue, in my opinion, is abuse. Right. At the very least, being subjected to a toxic work environment. Yeah. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. No, I understand. I understand what you're doing. So, I think it's the right thing. I spent years now wishing that I would have like said something or stood up for someone, genuinely wishing, but feeling like, honestly, until this moment, and it's because I'm on my way out, like being in a position where you're on like the news is like not the right
I'm not the right person to do it. I'm not the right outlet. Do you know what I mean? I like trust when I like, I've had so many moments where I'm like, should I just like let it rip? Like Art, for example, has just like let it rip before. And I'm just like, hell yeah, dude. And I wish I could have done that for them. Like, I feel bad that I didn't. Honestly, I've like felt really guilty about it. But like, I just was never, I was never in an appropriate spot to do that, especially so early in my career. Like, I can't like taint all of these, like, obviously Fox 2 ties, like things like that. It's like, it is scary to be 25 years old and like be like, I'm going to stand up to people backed by Fox 2 and this and that. Like,
that's why I explicitly absolved people in your demo, because like, it'd be nice for anybody to stand up, I guess. But to me, the onus is so much more on the 25-year vet than someone who's fresh out of college or almost fresh out of college. It's, from a maturity standpoint, from a clout standpoint, from a just comfort in your own skin standpoint, I don't think the onus is on like the 24-year-old to bring down the empire if it's corrupt,
Yeah.
I just, that's putting a lot on the kid on a relative basis. But I have a lot of disdain for the indifference to some of this stuff, because for whatever denial some people may have then, they know now. And it's like, are you okay with that? And the thing that'll be interesting is Fox is fully aware of this stuff. I don't know everybody in the company. There's people at Fox, because I've had conversations with a couple of them, and I'll tell you one of them after.
Ooh.
Very prominent people like that we would all know.
Yeah.
They're aware. And now this isn't a person with the power to make a decision to detach. So to be fair, but the general attitude seems to be like, hasn't been mean to me. That's a problem when you're
and that's
using
why I
gay
don't really,
slurs, like the R word.
don't like it.
This is not like a guy being an asshole. This is like insane stuff that would not have been tolerated even 10 years ago in civil society, let alone now.
Right.
So that'll be interesting, like what they do. I don't know. It's up to them. But at what point is there a head in the sand mentality here? This isn't Ben, did you throw up? We could do this now. That's fine.
Oh my God. Wait.
So
I can't tell. Ben, you guys tell me when to put my glasses
I feel like
on.
this is like part 2, one of the other ones, but whatever. It doesn't matter. He goes,
Wait, can I read it?
go ahead. Just don't say any bad words in there that are, the F's are fine.
Yeah,
but if he has any slurs in there,
Okay,
you never know.
no, this will be slur free. Fucking ignore me. You not walking in my building, walk around my fucking shit that I worked a lifetime. If you have no interest in saying what the fuck I say when I say it, you have no future with the network. Network is capitalized. If it ever fucking happens one more time, I can't make it more fucking direct.
Is there a part 2 to that, Ben? I don't even know. We're like so jumbled now. Is that it?
No,
That's it.
Okay.
I feel like that was part 2 of one of the other ones. I think we've got that mixed up. Doesn't matter.
But we hear them loud and clear.
It's all the same garbled mess.
Yeah. Okay. And here's the thing. I will like clarify.
Yeah.
When people are talking about, oh, he hasn't been mean to me. Oh, he hasn't been this and that. In person, to my knowledge, he's never like that. I swear to God. Like, I've seen yelling. I've seen, obviously, we've all seen what you've recently released. That sounds more like this with the golf course thing, the football thing.
That guy's coming on the show too.
That's crazy. But to me, in person, he's never been like that. He's always been like really kind in real life. Again, I have been in chats with those texts coming through, and you can hear. Okay, maybe I retract that like a little bit, because you can hear in some like morning shows, if you like watch back, maybe even recent ones. I don't know. I have full disclosure. I have Woodward blocked on everything. I've got the word muted. Once I got out of there, I was like, I'm good on that. So I don't see like what they're doing. I have
you don't need to.
No, exactly.
You follow everybody else in town, and they steal their content anyway, so you're good.
That's it. I do follow everyone else in town. And I follow like the people I love, like a Broder, like the people I feel like have talent there, or that like I'm still friends with. Like I follow, but I don't follow like their main account. and like the people I don't know that just like work there right now, blocked, muted, sorry. Like there's no beef. I just like don't want to see it. It's like not good for my mental health anymore. Honestly, that's the truth. I can't like see too much of it or I get like, I don't know, panicky.
So you have some lasting stuff going on from your time having been there?
Probably more like a year ago to now. I feel like more removed for it now. And I think a lot of that is like feeling comfortable in myself. Because when I was there, like I said, I just was not a very confident person. Physically, mentally, like in my skills, I felt like I was just kind of put there to, you know, smile, giggle, look pretty. You just toss them the questions, which honestly probably helped me in my journalism career. I always get told by people I ask amazing questions, so thank you very much. But like it wasn't really fun to be, mind you, I was producing as well, which I like take a lot of pride in and enjoyed because I like research and that producing takes a lot of research. But like to be told like you just give like Adam and Jeff the question and then, you know, kind of shut up and laugh if they say something funny, it was like not super fulfilling to me.
That was a directive given to you? Just throw it to him
in lesser words, basically in lesser words. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was like what I was there to do. And like kind of everyone knew that. So, Adam would like tell me to talk more and stuff, but like I would just be nervous. Like I wasn't confident in myself in any way, shape or form. Like it's kind of sucks. Cause it's like, I wish some of those things that I got to talk about at Woodward, like I couldn't talk about now because right now I have to state facts. I'm on the news. We do highlights. We do feature stories. And I love feature stories. Don't get me wrong. But I tell people every day, oh my God, do I miss having an opinion? Do I miss being like now when I'm mic'd up, it's just to tell you what happened. And oh my God, I miss having opinions. And I look back at my stuff I did there and I'm like, wow, I didn't really ever share my thoughts too often. Sometimes when I would like put things in a game format, that was like when I was allowed to kind of have like, I think this, what do you guys think kind of thing, kind of toss. But I'm like, dang, I wish I had like better clips, like the ones Ben put together. Thank you, Ben. Of me having a brain. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like what I could have been was really dulled in that moment. And now it's like, I'm in a position where I'm making reels and applying to places. And I'm like, damn, if I had like good radio clips of me, you know, making a point or whatever, but I don't. It's me just being like, okay, the next topic is.
And you don't, because they were dulled and stifled, or you were dulled and stifled by them. It wasn't because you were a naturally shy person that didn't feel comfortable doing it. It was more.
No. I've never been shy a day in my life.
I'm just clarifying. So it was basically an imposed shyness.
Yeah.
Forced shyness, effectively.
And not like, but it made me insecure to the point where I didn't really want to have an opinion. Like, I would just toss it and I would just sit in my chair like this. Till it was like I could tell like the conversation was dying down and I would have to talk again.
You know, it took like a year to shake it off, probably.
Yeah.
After you left, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I did pretty well in Montana, I would say, for like being a first-time newsie. Though being a sports multimedia journalist is really hard, and people don't tell you that. So, I think I did like what I could. I definitely like on my stand-ups and my stuff, when I watched my first couple of things I did in Montana, I mean months, my first couple months in Montana. Oh, I can't even watch it. It's so bad. It's horrible. I didn't want to be on camera. Like, I was so nervous. I don't know. It messed with me mentally for sure. From a professional standpoint for what I do. For sure.
Yeah, common. And, you know.
Which makes me feel so crazy that you were like, Kennedy has talent and that you wanted me on your show and stuff, because I look at that and I'm like, I don't see anything.
Oh, you jump off the screen. Come on. I can spot it a mile away. It was the same thing with Adam, and say I spotted Castellani before anybody knew it. I'm very good with that. I have a lot of flaws and a lot of weaknesses. I can tell you when someone else is good.
Yeah.
At the very least. So, no, you do. And I could easily find stuff. I used to in an NBA, like, I've told you that story already. For the project on like smiling through public deliveries and stuff like that. I told you that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you obviously had talent, but you were not much heard from.
No.
Usually it was like responding to me in the chat, like hyping you and Adam up. Like you would just be responding to me.
That was part of my job too, was just responding to the comments in the YouTube chat. So
very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Some real interesting exchanges there too. I can't believe it. Speaking of interesting, one-sided exchanges. Ben, we got one left, right? It's something about price and accuracies. I can never figure out these contexts. We can roll that up here.
these costs?
So it's some kind of screenshot with, I don't know if it's ad pricing or what that is. These costs are back to being wrong and inaccurate.
Yeah, they're selling Instagram reels, it looks like.
Gotcha. Jesus fucking Christ, do not let Adam nowhere near this fucking thing. This kid can't do anything but cuss his fucking brains out. That's ironic. And tag.
I mean, he does cuss his fucking brains out.
Well, I know, but I don't think Chad's the right one to deliver that lecture. Come on. I mean, look at within the body of what he's saying. And this is Jesse, who's like, Jesse's like their second. He's had a couple different labels told me. Like, he's the second in command. He's the right-hand man, whatever. That's what
I don't know. I just, for me, Jesse is Birmingham roast. That's what I like.
I don't know.
That's his thing, I think.
No one's ever told me anything bad about
Delicious
Jesse.
Coffee, by the way.
Yeah, make sure you go there and give Chad your business.
Or I don't know who owns what anymore.
But there's the R word again. How does it go backwards? Fucking R word.
Oh my God!
It snuck in there at the end. It did.
I wasn't even paying attention to it.
Well, you're so desensitized to it, but but like this is. But they got a million messages like this.
Yeah. My God, you have so many.
Oh, I haven't even gone through half of them yet. I've published 10, another 3 or 4 tonight. Maybe I'm close to half. I think it was a little over 30 last I counted. It's a lot, and it's a lot of sort of.
I wonder, did it seem like it got worse? There, the messages were like piling up more as the years went on, because they don't get me wrong, they like happened when I was there, but I feel way more sparse. Like I haven't seen most of these.
No,
I haven't seen any of these that you've shown me tonight. Actually,
I mean, I honestly I haven't thought about it in a timeline term, so I wouldn't want to definitively answer that. Like, oh, it definitely got worse. Definitely didn't get worse.
Yeah.
But there's some really like bad stuff, like earlier in the timeline, like stuff. From earlier shows and commenting on stuff that have been off for a long time. So, like, I can't really tell, but I will say there's a pattern that it was basically the entire timeline that I was sent stuff. It wasn't like this ramping up. And even aside from the text, though, there's multiple people that are like, yeah, I'll come on your show and tell my story. Like,
really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. 2 have done it, and there's more. You and Jeff obviously have.
Oh, well, okay. To be fair, I didn't come on just for this.
Well, no, but that's fair. And I don't think I'm talking Lions with these people either. They have an agenda, that they want to share, and that's fine. But I have to be careful too. I don't want to put someone up there that, there was one person that he told me his story, and I said, I kind of agree with Woodward. I would have let you go. So it's like
no, and there are some like that. And it's just tough.
He's like, I'm like, dude, if you had done that to my company, it wasn't like he did anything terrible.
Right.
But if you had made that error, I probably would have let you go too. So there's cases like that too, where it's not just like hey, let's whack the piñata. It's only if it's relevant and it's substantiated in some fashion. But I just think it's bad, and it bothers me.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like the girls' side of it like gets lost a lot in this, because so much of like I don't know if rhetoric's the right word, but like it's like brotherhood, and like you went against this thing that we built, and I'm like, hey, there were a handful of girls there too, and honestly, like there weren't a lot of people, for me at least, standing up for like the things that I went through. There were like guys that would for sure let me cry on their shoulders when I was like, there's a group chat of them basically saying I'm a wench. And they were like, ayo, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not cool. But most of the time it was just me taking the elevator up to the top floor, where at the time Jared Goff was living, and the nice bathrooms were up there, and I would just cry and hope Kristen Harper didn't come in.
I would hope she would come in, but that's a different story.
Well, I didn't want an SI model seeing me in that. But like, I would literally.
She would give you a hug.
She would. She's the nicest person I've ever met.
Everyone that's ever met her, you're one of them. She's like such a sweetheart.
It's unfair. She's hot. She's got like literally everything going for her, and she's nice. I was like, at least be a bitch. Like, at least suck. You know what I mean?
Knock herself down a peg.
But you're perfect. Ugh, people like that are.
She should get a job at Woodward. Is she still an active model? Is she still modeling at Woodward?
She is.
Do you think she's hot enough to work at Woodward? I know it's an important criteria.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even say that. Like, the next one had to be hotter than me.
Yeah. Well, tell that story. What was that about?
That was those were just texts that I was sent in like a group chat that I wasn't in, and it was.
This is when you're leaving.
I had put in my notice, and it was basically just like, F her. We're going to find the hottest bitch in Detroit to take her place. And I was just like, is that a threat? Like, I don't really know.
And that's was from Chad.
Yeah.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. Yeah. I can't remember. I
haven't seen it. That's why I say allegedly. I
can't remember. But I mean, it was like the manager's chat.
Like, I'm just going to find someone hotter, basically.
Yeah. That was the only criteria.
That's probably.
So congratulations to Maddie Miller. You were the chosen one.
Yeah. It's like Helen of Troy. So, yeah. I mean, I just, to me, I try to remind myself not to get used to it. I try to remind myself to be appalled every time, because that's
right. And I think
appalling.
I fell into like just laughing it off.
That's sad though.
No, I know, and it's wrong. Like I'm wrong for like feeling that way and just being like, well, it's not directed at me, so woo, dodged a bullet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucked up. It's not something to be proud of for sure on my end. It doesn't feel good, but it's the truth. So.
But doesn't it diminish what you had been doing, where it's not, oh, Kennedy's leaving, big shoes to fill, we better find someone smart, hardworking, dedicated.
Oh, yeah, no, it
completely dismisses you entirely.
What did feel kind of good was like Hot Clock was something that I developed basically, and Stick kind of put his like finishing touches on, and then Justin made all the graphics for it and was the one that actually made it look cool. But they tried to like fill that for a while to get another girl to do it. They tried like Lady Jane's girls and like all these different girls, and no one could do it, and that made me feel better.
The Woodward thing is, it's going to be interesting where they go. I do find the most compelling thing in this is the partnerships, particularly with Fox.
Yeah.
I'm not a cancel guy like that. You're never going to see me demanding somebody sever a tie. But I'm happy to make people aware of something's going on. And like, put it to you this way. Can we do a hypothetical quickly? Don't look at your clock.
Well, no, I felt a buzz.
Like
I thought
Michael
it was
Dukakis. Like, was that George Bush? George Bush is the one that looked at his watch. Yeah, that's. I think it was George Bush. Yeah, I gotta remember. I gotta get my history right. I think it was George Bush.
Justin, remember when you were like, "This podcast is going to take an hour"?
Well, you got a lot to say.
I do. I know.
We'll get you out of here in a second.
No, I'm not rushing you. I just don't shut up. This is the point.
It's a good thing.
This
is why we don't have a time limit.
Okay.
We will finish on Woodward here.
Okay.
Because I think this is a good way to put it.
Okay.
And this is where I think of these Fox partnerships, Planet Fitness, all of them. I think they are, if they know and aren't doing anything, they have some moral problems on their hands. Ben Augusta, great and powerful Oz.
The GOAT, yeah.
Okay. But remember him. He's an awesome dude, right?
Yeah.
You know the guy. You like the guy.
Yes.
You've worked with the guy in this capacity.
Yes.
Kennedy Broadwell starts some kind of a company. Let's say it's hemp purses. Doesn't matter. It could be anything.
Hemp purses.
It could be anything. It could be red lipstick so Chad will like you more. Or, whatever nonsense was imposed on you. It could be anything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Widgets.
Red lipstick for sure.
Kennedy widgets.
Yeah.
You start that. We get into some kind of a partnership. You're going to be partnering with me. It's not just ads, but we're doing that too. But I'm gonna have an interest in your company. You're gonna have an interest in Spiro Avenue.
Yeah,
we're partners. Okay, mutual interest. Ben gets fired, leaves, doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
And then because you're such good buds, shares with you messages where I'm just berating him, let's pretend I had more than one employee. I'm berating everybody.
Yeah.
Slurs, R-word, nasty.
I would never.
That would be a problem for you as my partner, correct?
From a brand perspective, I would never want anyone, even if it's a handful of people, to associate my brand with people using slurs.
Pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
And even on a personal level.
And obviously on a personal level, I would have an issue with it, but
you wouldn't want to be tethered to somebody like that.
Yeah. Correct.
Boy, do I have news for you.
Oh, yeah. I posted our text messages, Ben.
Yeah, Justin's really nasty to you, Ben.
Please, Ben. I know you've been working so hard. Great job on that, man. Thank you so much. That really moved my day. That's the whole. If anything, I'm embarrassingly nice most of the time. But I don't. I think.
Please make one minor tweak.
Ben, I think I'm pretty friendly, but I can't fathom, and I would answer the same way as you did in this. If you reverse the hypothetical, it's put Adam into it. If I was getting messages like, "Oh, you think Chad's bad. You think those messages are bad. Look at what your boy Adam said.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how bad it is and if it's true and stuff. But like, if I were given a deluge of evidence that this guy is like a demon, I would at least go to Adam and be like, bro, what the fuck? If not disassociate. I can't imagine, he's been good to me. Like, that's a bizarre. That is like, it didn't work at the Nuremberg trial. I mean, I'm following orders. It didn't do anything to me. I didn't see it. It's like, how didn't see it?
Yeah.
Your boss. He would sue me if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Nobody really disputes the validity of these.
No.
So, how are you okay with a stance of, nothing to do with me?
I don't know. I'm not in their heads.
That's bad enough. But it's even worse if you're a partner with them or a sponsor. I would run for the hills. So that's what I'm most interested in following. But
yeah, I am too, because I mean, he's just got like a shit ton of money. But like, how far can that go? I don't know. See, I don't know. I've never had money. I've never had money, so I don't know. I'm a local journalist.
It's not about, and I'm glad that you said that though. Who was it? God, I can't remember. So
probably me.
No, it definitely wasn't you. It was someone. I think it's someone that was still there. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure it's someone that was still there was saying, and Adam would know what I'm talking about. Someone was saying,
we need him here. I wish we could have him on a mic.
He was invited. He didn't respond.
Yeah, but he couldn't be on a mic.
Yeah, well, he's not doing a sports show. He could. He could do his Woodward Sports episode. I don't see why not. I mean, I'm not speaking for him, but his restrictions are like
he could have been here supporting me.
He could do like a lifestyle podcast tomorrow if he wanted.
He should.
Yeah,
I'll co-host it with him.
How to lose a guy in 10 days or something. He could do whatever he wants. I mean, as long as it's not sports. You know? So I mean, I don't know. It's his restrictions are his restrictions. But somebody there was saying to me and saying outwardly that what I'm doing is dumb and pointless because Chad's got so much money anyway. And my response is, I'm not trying to like bankrupt the guy. This
is not a money thing for you. I know that.
Well, and not even about me getting paid. It's not about like ruining any businesses or he's rich. I don't care. This is about.
Also, you're not taking down Planet Fitness.
No, I don't have any interest in that.
$5 a month?
If you told me I could take Chad down like financially and put his family in ruin, I wouldn't, even if you gave me that irrational power that I don't have.
Right.
It's not where my interest lies. I think if you do shitty things, you should be held to account for them. And that's all this is.
Okay, I want you to be straight with me because I don't think anyone's asked you this.
Yeah.
In your perfect world, what's the best outcome here? Like, genuinely, what are you after?
I want him behind the scenes for the good of society or to just completely change. Behind the scenes meaning like, hey, he can own businesses, hire someone else to run them that's not going to talk that way and stay out of it. It's not the first time that's happened in corporate America. You can do that. My uncle owns a business. He doesn't even know what the office looks like. He's hired someone to run it. He owns the interest. So that happens. It's not a weird thing. It's not a la request to basically be a silent, Martha Ford, a couple years, not that involved with the Lions, before she handed it over. So it's not like you can't do that. So I'm, or sell. That's fine too. I don't want, or don't act that way. That's also okay. I just have questions as to whether or not that's in his wheelhouse to not behave that way based on the track record, because how are you acting this way in the first place?
Yeah.
This is not like err of my ways thing. This is like an inherent, probably unfixable flaw. But yeah, you're not the first person to ask me, although the first on camera, to say, well, like, what's the end game? I don't even think in those terms.
Right.
Like, you're asking me the dream scenario. There's no like end game. It's simply holding someone accountable for what they did.
No, and I get that. I just I think about it sometimes and I'm like, I don't even know what the solution is. Like, if I'm being so honest, because it's like, okay, sell. What does that look like? I don't know. And like, I still have friends there and I have friends that like put a lot of time and effort into it, obviously, that are still there. So it's like, I don't ever want it to like sink completely. Maybe they rebrand. I don't know what that does to them. I think like, they already have such a bad taste in so many people's mouths. How do you undo that? Even if you switch, like, it's always going to be tied to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how you get out of this one. It's the hole is deep.
I wouldn't buy the brand. I mean, I would want to, if I'm going to do it, I would start fresh. With at least a different name.
Right.
You said rebrand. That's spot on. But I'm not thinking, I mean, you asked me my dream end game, so I basically answered, but I'm not even thinking in terms of an end game. It's just bad stuff has accountability.
But the people aren't leaving. Do you know what I mean?
Like people are.
Well, they still have 3 fully staffed shows? 4?
So you think the exodus is completely, they're going to stop leaving? I have a different opinion.
I feel like the people that are, I know maybe of one that might.
Okay.
I don't know. You probably know more than I don't talk to any of these people. That's
still talking to a few people.
Okay. You know more than me. I'll shut the fuck up.
It's just, you might be right. I don't know if they're actually going to jump. There's a few people that
said they were going to and
said they were going to and didn't.
That's why I'm saying, I'm like, does this thing sink if all these people don't grow some balls, respectfully?
That's the problem. And part of it is, not having the balls to do it. And to what extent do you blame the victim, or not blame the victim? It's a fine line. It's really a case by case basis.
Right.
There's people that it's not that they don't have the balls. It's that they're selfishly in their self-interest staying there.
That's the thing.
Different.
Like people, the ones that are still there are still in their dream job. Maybe definitely not making, like they're not making their dream salary. Let's be very clear about that. But they're in a studio that they would never afford on their own. They're a part of, tied to a brand with like a ton of followers. If they're purchased or not, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like people aren't just willing to give that up. I got out in the early phases, so it was like we only had like a couple hundred viewers maybe per live stream. I mean, it would be like in the thousands once it was all over, but like at a time. Now, or at least when Adam and Jeff were still there were a lot more than that. It was like a much bigger thing.
But where's your dignity, though?
Yeah.
Like, I can wrap my brain around taking money because you have kids to feed.
Yeah.
And there's no, this is.
But you could make more at Taco Bell.
Exactly. In a lot of these cases, everyone makes different amounts.
I know what I was making, so.
I know from multiple people, and you just said it. There's many people that told me exactly what they made.
Yeah.
In one case, I unsolicited, they sent me proof of their income.
Oh my God.
I didn't ask for it. They just sent it because they wanted me to believe them.
Yeah.
They wanted to be believed.
That's funny.
Which I did not require that evidence.
Here's my pay stub.
They sent me just a part of it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to play like devil's advocate or stuff, or anything like that. But I've been like very much of the mindset where it's like the people that are there, maybe not anymore, but definitely when I was there, like these are people being just taken advantage of. Like people that are really desperate for the opportunity. Maybe were sold an idea that it didn't end up being. Young, fresh out of college, lots of them are Specs Howard. Specs had just turned into LTU or something. I don't know. Like it's a lot of people that were like in a transition of life. Like whether that be or people that were just really desperate to try and it's not all of them. Obviously, there's like Braylon Edwards there.
But those are not the people we're talking about.
Those are not the people we're talking about.
People's perceptions. This is not a statement of fact. But people's perceptions that they've told me, and it's factual, they've told me this, is the whole take advantage thing comes in the form of false promises.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Like, you're going to be on the sidelines at the Lions games. I'm
sold something that it's not, yes.
And they never become that.
Correct.
And it was phrased by one of the people that told me their story. Like, it kept kind of getting kicked down the road. Like, take this $300 a month salary now. You can't even call that a salary.
Yeah.
And like, do it for a few months. And like, there's sort of this dangling carrot, and then it never really manifests.
Yeah.
Or it manifests in the most meager of ways. That's how it was told to me. Is that?
Yeah. That's what I meant by like they're sold something that it's not.
Yeah. Like, basically, pay your dues now, the payoff's coming, and it never comes. It's seriously like sports media Scientology.
Yeah.
And it's even to the point where the two organizations are quite litigious. They even have that in common. They both love suing people.
Oh,
it's the well, don't worry, you're under my umbrella now. It's
thanks, Wade.
They can try us, honestly. I stand by my offer because it can get a lot worse if the books are open. And that's something they should consider. And it's that's not a threat. It's discovery. If you sue me, it's all coming out. I can't stop it.
Right.
So, you want to go there? Okay. You know who doesn't have really damning text messages to people? Me. You're not gonna find them because I don't talk like that, you sociopath. I mean, my God, this is really bad stuff we're talking about here.
It's definitely not great.
Speaking of not great stuff,
yeah.
Can I put your DM up there from the?
Oh, sure. I wish I would have known you were like doing this before because I would have gotten you a better one.
I cannot put it up there. You want me to not put it up?
No, go ahead, put it up. But I'm saying like
you wanted more juicy.
Yeah. I'm saying I have funnier ones.
This was like during your drive down, wasn't it?
This was driving here. So last time I was on the show, if people haven't watched, Justin was like, read some of your like crazy DMs, and mind you, I was just like at Woodward at the time, and we weren't even that big yet, and I had like quite a few, honestly, but I hadn't gotten ones in months because so much of my like. It goes through like my DM filter now. Like I don't see it unless I follow people back. I have to like actively look and open it. But this one that you're showing came on my professional Facebook page, my Kennedy Broadwell 9 and 10 Sports Facebook page. Go sauce it alike. But
I didn't even know that part. This
is the first DM I've ever gotten to my professional page asking me on a date. Which is hilarious.
Do you want to read this or should I?
Yeah, you do it. You have a man voice.
That's a good point. So he goes, hello, this might be a little too far.
Immediately, like, yeah, it is.
So my apologies. He has the self-awareness enough to not send it, I would argue, but then he did it. But I follow you on Twitter and think you're the most gorgeous woman ever.
Hilarious. Sydney Sweeney exists. Get a grip.
She is like, I mean, she's so hot in the, virally hot term.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, honestly, I'm embarrassed. I didn't even know who she was. I asked my wife like 3 weeks ago, like, who's that?
Who is everyone talking about?
She's like, I'm not telling you.
Don't look at her boob.
Seriously, I'm going to keep that on the down low. So this goes, I love your sports takes and just wanted to introduce myself. Again, this might be too far.
He doubles down.
So, with a bunch of O's, if it's creepy, then I'll see myself out. But wanted to give you kudos for your work. And if you're ever in the Muskegon area for work, I'd love to buy you dinner or a drink. Keep up the fantastic work. I believe it's public knowledge that you are
taken.
Yeah. Let's play the game of you're not taken.
Yeah.
Would you meet this gentleman in Muskegon?
No, I don't think I've ever been to Muskegon.
Would you make a special trip for that?
No. Number one, I didn't even like look at his profile or anything because taken, obviously. But also his name is the same as my brother's. So I immediately was like, ugh!
So that was disqualifying.
Yeah,
the hottest fucking chick ever part as the opening salvo wasn't disqualifying.
No, it's having the same name as my twin brother is going to immediately disqualify you.
I could never date a Stephanie because my sister Stephanie.
Well, and like Stephanie's at least like kind of like Tanner is like a very specific name.
You just outed the guy.
No, I didn't give a last name. There's a million Tanners in the world. But like, you know what I mean? It's not
First two I've heard of, your brother and this guy.
But you know what I mean? It's not like a Steve or a Jack, John. Like
even if it were, the sibling thing is weird. I couldn't do it.
The sibling thing is too weird.
Yeah, I mean, if Hillary Burton's name was Stephanie, maybe that'd be like the one exception.
Wait, do you want me to pull it more? I have one that's really funny.
Yeah, give me like at least two more good ones.
Okay. Let me get on.
You know I have a weird fascination with this because this is the thing did you get a new one?
Oh no. Oh, that was someone nice.
Did you get a season desist letter already?
I thought like while we were on the show, I got another one. I was like, there's no fucking way.
Oh, that'd be pretty funny.
It wasn't. Okay. Let's
I love the whole exchange within his own head there. Like, I mean, it was really funny. He's like, at least bury the hot girl thing first. Like, you should, at least if you're going to be a weirdo, like compliment the news
sports
stuff
takes first.
It's like he kind of buried the more, in theory, genuine
it's honestly, what's really funny is it's not really even my work. It was like, he follows me on Twitter. So it's like, do you just like my tweets or do you like my work?
Yeah,
Those are different things.
Yeah, that's a fair distinction too. Did you find a funny one?
Yeah.
Okay. No names though.
No names.
They're going to sue me then.
Okay. I'll be honest, and I know this is a long shot, but I've always found you to be absolutely stunning, and I love your personality, even though it's been basically through Twitter. No, it has fully been through Twitter. I don't know you. Watching you grow from this girl at Central to an amazing woman. Central is my high school, by the way.
That's kind of creepy, actually. Like that's a different level of creepy.
Yeah. To this amazing woman chasing her dreams and doing so many things now is unbelievable. And even though I know I have no shot in hell, I just wanted you to know how much I love watching you grow into an amazingly beautiful woman with such an incredible personality and living your best life.
Honestly, the I have no shot in hell part is the most problematic of that whole thing to me. I mean, it's like our friend Chris Castellani. It's like you got to have a little more confidence, man. Like you can't. That's the one of the worst parts of that whole thing. Tell me this though, honestly, because I've never understood the guy thing. Like, the worst manifestation of it is like the dick pic thing. That's like, that's like that's the summit of Everest of creepy. Yeah, like that's the most extreme manifestation of this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I've never understood any component of this where, believe me, I got a million flaws and people love to point them out daily. Even some things that aren't true.
Yeah,
see you in court, mister. But I can't imagine even thinking to message a girl like that coldly. Like
coldly.
Well, no. Maybe if it's a girl I know, and I would word it differently. Like, yeah, I wouldn't do it, but I could be convinced that, like, hey, if it's someone that you know or you've had interactions with, and you do it in a nice way, I still think I'm old school. I would go in person and do that, but I could wrap my brain around it not being appalling.
Yeah,
in a respectful way. Why, like you? Is there any circumstance that you would get a DM saying that you're hot and that would result in you ending up on a date with that person?
I mean, I won't say like people haven't DM'd me before and it's ended up on us going on a date, but they haven't been like that. I'm trying to think. No, actually, oh my gosh, my boyfriend's listening. Trigger warning, Adam, turn it off.
Yes, sorry, man.
When I was fresh out of college, probably one time. It happened one time. I went, and it was actually the worst day of my life, so I would never do it again. We learned. We lived and we learned.
The date sucked?
Yes.
Was the initial message creepy, though?
No.
Because I'm not talking about online dating, polite stuff. I'm
no, it wasn't an app. It was definitely, it was either to my Instagram or my Twitter. He DM'd me. He was a watcher of Morning Woodward. And I was like, okay. Like, he was very normal presenting. He was like a football coach and like an AD, and I was like, oh, period, like football guy, I'll probably like him.
Am I allowed to? I don't know how bad it is. I don't know if I'm being insensitive.
No, I have to tell you because
I want to know.
It's so funny. I just have to get through it.
This is a great way to end the show. End the show with this story.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, I need to get a grip. My boyfriend's gonna be so disgusted with me. I really hope he doesn't have this on, but I know he does. He was like, do you want to watch Monday Night Football with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. I have to watch it for work anyway. Like, sure. And so I went to his place, which stupid, could have died. Hey, I didn't actually know him like that, but I was like, yeah, he's like a teacher and a high school coach. Like, this is fine, probably safe. Would I do that now? No. But mind you, I was 22. So, and we're watching, and his cat, he looks at me. So he's kind of awkward. I was like, all right, this is not going well. I'm already thinking of an escape plan.
How old is he roughly? And then I'll let you finish.
I mean, probably 27, maybe.
Okay. So older, but not older.
Definitely older than me. He had his own place, whatever. Yeah. Definitely was more established than I am or was. So we're watching Monday Night Football. He looks at me and he's like, you have a dog, right? And I was like, yeah, why? I post Chesney everywhere. That's my best bud. So it wasn't weird that he knew that. And I was like, yeah, why? And he was like, well, does he ever do anything weird? And I looked at him and I said, well, what do you mean by weird? And he was like, well, my cat shits in my shower. Mind you, I've known this man for 15 minutes, and that's one of his opening lines to me in person. I was like, oh, I immediately have to get out of here. So I had to think of a reason.
Had the game started yet?
Yeah. I mean, it was maybe not even it wasn't even halftime for sure. And I think at half is when I made my escape. I was like, you know what? That just, I got the dog and whatnot, and then I got to get up early for work tomorrow. But I was at his place. It was a 1-bath place. His cat was actively shitting in the shower that he showers in. You don't seem that appalled by this. I was disgusted.
disgusting. I'm wondering like
Why would you ever tell me that?
I'm wondering like
Did he want me to leave?
where my head is
Like,
is it a socially awkward person, or was the follow up gonna be like something more bizarre? I don't know. I don't know.
I had to get out of there.
I know. I that's you're wondering why I'm not. I'm more just thinking like, where was that going? Because that's a weird.
It didn't go anywhere after that. I was just like, oh, like you have one bathroom. What do you mean? He like doubled down. He was like, well, yeah, but she pees in the litter box, and I was like,
so
the cat should not be. Hello?
Was he going somewhere with that, or was that just a socially awkward person?
It was just a socially awkward person. I was so disgusted I had to leave. Like, what do you mean?
Nasty.
What do you mean you shower where your cat poops? That's where you clean yourself.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross.
And I like have a hard time believing a man is cleaning his shower every time before he showers, even if his cat poops.
So you think he's rocking?
Yeah, disgusting.
Well, he's got to get to his football practice. He's in a hurry.
He's gonna give the whole like place a ringworm or whatever.
Stand in the other corner of the shower.
Locker rooms.
Hug the wall.
Oh my God.
This is like.
So yeah, I would never ever go on it. Don't ever go on a date with someone from your DMs. People.
There are advantages to being like a female, especially like a younger female in college. Like, they didn't wait in the same lines I did. They didn't pay for the same drinks I did. And stuff. Like there are benefits, but the downsides are numerous too, because I don't get weird messages like that. I mean, I get messages asking me to kill myself.
Oh,
but
that's pretty bad.
Well, but those don't bother me though. I'm so used to it. But it's like you don't have that kind of creep factor. Like I'm way too old for like a club thing now, and I never liked them anyway. But like when I was in a group that felt compelled to go, it's like I could be out there and dance or whatever, dance with my girlfriend or whatever, and not worry about some guy that I think is gross like coming up, or a girl, it doesn't matter, anybody coming up and like putting their body on me and stuff, whereas women have to deal with that all the time.
Yeah,
like just guys dancing up on them or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like even my now wife, like we had a thing in Chicago, like a guy like came up and like was like groping her. Like he was hammered.
I had a woman do it to me once too, though, to be fair. And I was like, oh, I do not swing that way.
It's a little awkward, but I mean, in any
like also just assuming is crazy.
That's true. Yeah, it's like how then you're starting to wonder like how do I look at my person?
No, I know. Well, and you know what? I was in like baggy jeans that were like cargo style with like pockets on the side, and I was like, maybe I do look like a little bit like a lesbian, but like that was really Ben giggled.
I'm gonna show
that was really weird to do.
One of my good friends. I mean, she was a good friend middle school and high school. Now we're just more acquaintances, but we get on great. And she's very open. I'm not outing somebody.
Right.
Open and proud lesbian. She is, I say this platonically, grew up childhood friend. She's like gorgeous.
Yeah.
And guys come up to her all the time.
She's like, eh.
And it's hilarious.
That's awesome.
And her DMs are unbelievable.
Oh, because they're all men.
Yeah. And she has the ultimate, but she said, because they're like, your pictures are so hot. She's got pictures with her wife. Like,
oh, they think they're friends?
What's that? Oh,
they just think they're friends?
They're not looking that closely. I mean, they don't have any like PDA pictures.
Yeah.
But they have, like anniversary pictures.
Oh my God, yeah. So it's just men like seeing what they want to see.
Instagram after. Yeah. I mean, I've laughed about this with her. I'm not like, she's very open about it. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't even care if I said her name. She's very public about it. But just to be careful, I won't. But anyway.
Don't send any more guys her way.
Well, I see. That's why I'm so fascinated by the topic. But it's the point being, this is a open lesbian with a million pictures of her with her fellow lesbian wife.
Yeah,
there could not be more. I mean, she's what is it, lipstick or whatever they call it. Like,
yeah.
She doesn't look like the stereotype.
Like,
but there's a million other examples of how you would know. It's obvious.
Right.
Anyway, whatever. Great job by you.
Thanks.
I'm sorry I made you cry. That was. It's
okay. No,
that's not the intent. You did a great job.
I warned you if I was gonna have a drink, I would end up crying. So.
I thought I was safe staying away from wine. But, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you're not the only person to cry telling their story to me about Woodward. It's just
I just did it on camera.
Yeah, but you're very camera, comfortable. And
you guys leave in the comments if I'm a pretty crier.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want her to wear red lipstick next time or pink?
Well, I just want to make sure I don't have like a Kim Kardashian crying face, but I think I held it together pretty well.
And we don't think about those kind of things here. I'm more interested in the content, but I know that's not been your experience. And,
yeah. Oh my God.
So,
Okay.
Darren McCarty and Justin Rogers looked like they rolled out of bed here, and I didn't care. It's like it didn't matter. Chris Castellani, we're a Blazer. We're all over the spectrum here. Ben, thank you for hanging in there.
Thanks,
I really
Ben.
hope you haven't been like holding it in and had to use the restroom or anything. We ran along. I'm very sorry. I appreciate your time.
It's okay.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I hope I was making sense. I felt really rambly today, but
that's all right. This is a rambly show. Great job by you. It was a double header for us. We went last night and tonight back to back. That's a lot.
Think about you.
Well, you're sitting in Malik Hall's chair there. He's a great dude. You're actually drinking his water, or you were.
I know, it's empty. I know, I have a lot of liquid.
Yeah, we got to hook you up with a new one.
No, I'm just kidding.
Spiro Avenue Show, Kennedy Broadwell, great job. Great to have you back.
I hope I come back again.
You will come back soon.
Maybe with more friends next time.
We'll keep it under 6 hours next time.
Okay.
We'll see you. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.